and welcome back to our monthly episode on maternal health, keeping moms and babies alive. This episode, we will be discussing child seat safety. I am your host, Jill Lisa Bondurant, and am joined by committee members from the Winnebago County Health Department's Maternal, Infant, and Child Health Team. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Every month, we present on a different topic hosted by community members to connect local professionals and services with the public regarding maternal health. We want this to be a space where you feel empowered to ask your questions. So if you have any questions, please use the comment section below if you are on Facebook, or use the chat if you're live in the Zoom. So now we got the basics covered. I am excited to jump into our episode today. Today we have Melanie Wingo, Jeff Hoster, and Skip Mosney joining us today. Melanie Wingo currently works for the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police through a grant from the Illinois Department of Transportation. She has a bachelor's degree in social work from Augustana and began social services at the Winnebago County Health Department in 2001. She became a car seat technician in 2002 while working at the health department and received the Child Passenger Safety Resource Center grant shortly after. Her title is Child Passenger Safety Coordinator, and she covers 23 Northwest counties in Illinois. Melanie has been a car seat technician for 21 years and an instructor for 19 years. So you have questions about car seats? Today's the day to ask them. Next, we also have Jeffrey Hoster, who's a paramedic. Jeffrey was hired in 1990 as a firefighter for the Freeport Fire Department. He retired in February 2020 prior to the pandemic. Jeff then trained as an EMT basic and as a paramedic. He was assigned to the ambulance for 16 years. Then the last 13 years or so, he filled multiple roles within the department. Jeff has been with Swedish American UW Health since December of 2002. 18 years was spent as a part-time instructor, and as of March of 2020, he became full-time as the Safe Kids Coordinator. He helps out with multiple classes that are put on in the EMS building and conducts continuing education from time to time for other fire departments and EMS departments. Jeff is the Pediatric Advanced Life Support Coordinator for Swedish American and have been certified as a car seat technician for approximately 18 years. Guys, I am so impressed by these bios, the years that we have in experience. We have so many car accidents every year. You want your babies to be safe. So if you are tuning in live or you're watching this after the point, please make sure you share this. This is literally going to save lives today. Last but not least, I apologize that I deferred. We have Skip Mosney, who currently works at the fire department. Skip entered fire service at Northwest Fire Protection District in 1996 as a volunteer firefighter and became an EMT shortly thereafter in 1998. He began working full-time for the Rockford Fire Department in 2002 and obtained his paramedic license in 2008. After 18 amazing years of firefighting and EMS work, he has appointed to the position of Mobile Integrated Health Manager in 2020. He obtained his Child Passenger Safety Technician certification later that year and since been working to develop a child passenger safety program, a task he continued since becoming a fire inspector in 2022. I cannot wait to get into all this information. So Melanie, will you kick us off?
Thank you. We first of all want to talk about the law in Illinois. A lot of people don't know what the actual law is. So in Illinois, and it's different in every state, a child has to be in an appropriate child restraint until age 8. Recently, the law changed and they added a part where the child has to be rear facing until at least 2 years old. And again, that varies throughout the United States, but this is Illinois. And one thing I like to say is if you ever want your car seat checked, make sure that you're getting it checked by someone who's a certified technician, which myself, Jeff, and Skip all are. We have several people in the Winnebago County area that are trained technicians, because someone might feel like they know how to install car seats, but they haven't been certified and trained like the rest of us have. So make sure you're gonna go to someone who is a certified technician. I'm going to talk about rear facing children. So as you know, they need to be rear facing until they're 2. We usually parents start off with the little infant carriers or the bucket seats or whatever people call them. And those usually go up to about 35 pounds. Then you can transition, into like a convertible seat, which goes rear facing and forward facing. A lot of parents are worried about their kids' their legs being too long and actually touching the back of the vehicle seat. And they're afraid they want to turn them around too soon because they're afraid they're going to get leg injuries because their feet are touching and their legs are touching. We're actually more worried about where their head is in the car seat. They need to be within an inch from the top of the shell of the car seat and within the weight limit. Other than that, I don't care where their legs are. They can sit crisscross applesauce in the vehicle and get comfortable. One of the things too is when they're rear facing, we want their straps to be at or below their shoulders. We want them tight enough, and we'll show you this in a little bit, tight enough where you can't pinch any fabric right here at the collarbone. Not the 2 fingers or 3 fingers anymore. You don't want to be able to pinch any fabric. It needs to be that snug. So the child is not going to be, there's going to be less movement if you're ever in a crash. And then Jeff will talk a little bit about forward facing.
Okay, with the forward facing car seats, that's strictly what they are. They only forward face, that's all they do. Majority of them, or actually all of them, seem to come as forward facing, and once the child hits a certain height and weight, then the harness can be removed. Or some seats actually have a storage spot where you can actually store the harness so you don't have to take it apart, and you can turn the seat into a booster seat. But at this point, we're talking about just using the harness as a forward-facing seat. The difference between the infant seat or the rear-facing seat and the forward is that the harness needs to be at or above the shoulders, because with the rear-facing, we want to hold the child down into the car seat. If you ever get into an accident, it doesn't want to eject them out. Forward-facing, you want to allow a little bit of movement, not to where they're pushed down into the seat. And again, the harness still needs to be tight enough to where you can't pitch it at the collarbone. And that's pretty much it. They're usually pretty simple to install or get the child harness. But the big thing is, I'm probably speaking out of turn a little bit here, but we also don't want big bulky clothes on them when we put the harness on them. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. So I believe Skip's up next for booster seats.
There we go, unmuted. Yeah, so booster seats, kids are getting to that age where they're starting to get kind of squirrely. Maybe some of their friends don't ride in a booster seat because their parents aren't, as diligent following the rules. They're anxious to get out of that forward-facing seat. They want to be a big kid, but the booster seat really provides an essential function, keeping that belt and keeping them in line with that seat belt so that it can hold them where they really need to go. If you just put them in a chair or in the seat with the seat belt and they're not in the booster seat, it can cause neck injuries, shoulder injuries. The lap belt's not positioned properly. So, they're getting to that upper weight limit of the regular forward-facing car seat. They need to get out of it. They need to go into a booster seat because they're just not big enough for a seat belt yet. You want that seat belt to come across their shoulder. You don't want it behind them. You don't want it tucked under their arm. All these tricks that parents use to kind of get around things. A lot of the booster seats have a little clip that will help retain the seat or the seat belt in the proper position. You need to use that as well. The lap belt needs to come across the upper portions of their thighs, not across their belly. Because in a car seat or in a car accident, that lap belt can dig right into their abdomen if it's not in the right position. So it's all about maintaining the proper body position so that in the event of that forward collision, they're not going to sustain more serious injuries. And also you've got different options too. You know, a lot of people buy the 3-in-1 or the all-in-one seats that can be converted into a booster seat. Some kids don't like that because they're just in their same old car seat. They want to transition into something cooler, something, you know, more of a big kid seat. You know, a lot of people go to the high backed booster seats. And my kids just went into a plain old just belt positioning booster. And I'll be honest, they transitioned before they should have, because I fell for the old, well, all of my friends are in booster seats argument. But I wasn't a car seat tech then, and I didn't know how important it was to keep them in the right seats. Thankfully, I didn't get hurt. But another big thing is too, with it, if you're using that belt positioning booster, you know, it just kind of sits there in the seat. And the Illinois recommends that you secure that seat with the seat belt when it's not in use, so it doesn't become a projectile and fly around your car if you do get into an accident. So a lot of people don't do that. I know I never did, but when I saw that, I thought, oh yeah, you know what, that makes sense. So keeping that thing secured in place, you know, that's for your safety, even when your kid's not in the car. So did I hit everything there, Melanie?
Yeah, the other thing is people always want to know, when can they get out of a booster seat? The law says age 8. So we say they have to be in a booster seat until at least age 8, but it really depends on the child and the vehicle. Like Skip said, the seatbelts are made for adults. So you want to make sure that the kid, once they turn 8 and you put them in the vehicle seat, that they are going to fit in that seatbelt properly. So some children can be in booster seats for a lot longer than 8 years old, depending on how tall they are and stuff like that. So at least age 8, but again, don't be in a hurry to get them out of that final step, because sometimes the seatbelt just doesn't fit them properly. So, do you want to talk about, and we'll do a little bit of installation here. Just maybe, hold on.
I'm gonna show them where the information is as far as expiration date. stuff
Okay,
like that.
can you, okay.
Okay, so before we actually get into the installation part of this, doing the seat, I'm gonna show you a little bit of where you can find some information, and very important information on the seat. You got a sticker here that shows date of manufacturer, the manufacturer, model number, and the name of the seat. So that's information that we really need to get, kind of find out if the seat is actually recalled or not. So we do make sure we have that information on our checklist. So with this particular, this is a rear facing infant base. And one of the big things is making sure that it's at the right recline angle. And in some cases, all seats have 2 ways of installing them. One is the latch system and one is the seat belt. Normally I try to teach the parents the seat belt because it's usually easier to remember, and a lot of people are more comfortable with that. So I'm just gonna
Show
the latch.
show what they look like. So can you see the lower anchors on the seat? It's just a different way to install the car seat instead of the seat belt. And Jeff's gonna show you the seat belt. It's not recommended to use both at the same time. It's one or the other. And that's a huge mistake by parents because they think more is better.
Right.
And so they're gonna hook up the lower anchors and then they're gonna hook up the seat belt, and we only wanna do one or the other. So Jeff's just gonna show the basic seat belt.
To do the seat belt, you want to make sure that you do not twist it in any way. This is my personal preference, is to pull it out. Make sure I lay it on top of itself, and there's a belt path that you follow. It comes up through a slot and then over the seat or over the base and then down through another slot. Locked. lock the buckle, and then pull on the shoulder part of the harness or of the seatbelt. Pull out as much slack as you possibly can. And then what you're gonna do is lock the seatbelt itself. And to do that, you're gonna pull the seatbelt all the way out until it stops, and you should hear ratcheting. Then at that point, you're gonna put as much weight onto the seat, either this way and pull, or I also teach moms that they can put their foot up on the side of the car like this and pull as hard as they possibly can, and then feed that back up into the seat or up into the retractor. Then we want to check to see how tight it is side to side. You're allowed an inch movement side to side. And so you're going to grab right where the belt path is, and you're going to try to move it. Right now, we have no movement or very little. It's hard to tell, but there is no movement. Okay. Now with this particular seat, with the base, and we put the infant carrier into it, we want it to bounce. Okay. So if you hit something, it's kind of like, acts like a shock absorber. So when you hit something, it's going to bounce, and the baby's not going to feel every bit of the accident. So that's pretty much it. I missed anything?
No, that's good. And then, do you just want to show our doll? We have some cute little dolls back here. Oh gosh, hold on.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the infant carrier.
You want
Are we
me to-
good?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, this is the way the infant should be properly harnessed. We got the harness at or below the shoulders. And I cannot pinch the harness that way. The chest clip needs to be at armpit level. And to tighten it, all we do is we pull on this. Once it's all buckled up, we just pull on this until it's tight enough where we can't pinch. And as Melanie said, the head's not, it's still far enough away that the child still fits in it. Any questions on that one? Okay, now forward facing. This one's different. This one, actually, the harness is at, you want to take this? The harness is at or above the shoulders, which is good. Again, the chest plate needs to be at armpit level. And this also has a crotch buckle. I didn't talk about that with the infant seat, but you do not want this underneath the child sitting on it, and you don't want it too far out. So as the child grows, you're going to move this, and there's always adjustments in that. We always show parents how to do that whenever they come in and have their seats inspected. Okay. This seat also turns into a booster seat, and that where the harness can come out, and then we route it just like a belt positioning booster.
Okay. Skip, do you want to talk about some secondhand seats?
Yeah. So we know car seats are expensive, and you know, a lot of people, they look for the best deals, and maybe somebody says, hey, I've got a car seat you can have. There's some problems, and we operate on what we call the good, better, best principle. So it's good that you want to put your kid in a car seat, and it's better that you want to put them in, you know, a car seat that's given to you that's appropriate for their for their size. So the best thing would be to buy a brand new car seat and put them in. But if you can't do that, if somebody has a car seat for you, there's just a couple things you need to look at. And one is, do you know the history of that car seat? If a car seat's been involved in an accident, manufacturers don't recommend that you use it. There could be stress cracks in there. You know, there could be tears in the stitching. Just could be structurally unstable. So we don't recommend that you use that. You want to make sure that the labels are there, and you, especially as Jeff mentioned earlier, there is an expiration date. So you want to check the expiration and make sure that it's not too old. Some car seats have been recalled, and not everybody checks that recall list. So you can get on the internet, you can look up car seat safety recall list. There's all kinds of them on there. But if you know the seat's history and you trust the people that you're getting it from, it's not a bad deal to take it. Just make sure that you're doing what's best for your child. So if it's within those parameters, if it's not expired, if it's not damaged, then by all means use it. When you're looking at secondhand car seats, maybe purchasing off the internet, then it's a little more dubious. So we've seen things on eBay where it just looks like it's too good to be true. You look at that price and it's, holy cow, it's $49 for a $200 car seat. Believe it or not, there's counterfeit car seats out there. There's car seats that maybe the labels are missing, or maybe they're from foreign manufacturer and they're not certified for use here in the United States. You just don't know. You don't know that history. So if the deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. And a lot of those counterfeit seats, they're indistinguishable from what we have out there. So yeah, you're best to go with a secondhand seat that you know the history of. Now, like we said, it's good that you want to put them in a car seat, better that you're actively trying to get the appropriate car seat, but the best is to go with the safest route.
So that's pretty much all we have. We kind of condensed our, to a short presentation. So what kind of questions are out there or that you guys have that we can, maybe something we forgot to talk about or clarification on anything?
Yeah. One, my mind is just blown about counterfeit car seats.
Yes.
The
Yes.
world is so scary.
So one of the local hospitals has had 5 different counterfeit seats or European seats in the past 2 years.
Oh, wow. So I guess jumping into the questions, one of the questions we had was, if you're in the process of getting discharged from the hospital and you don't have a car seat and you don't have the funds to go out and purchase one or have your family go out and purchase one, what resources are out there or how does that work?
So what we've tried to do is we tried to get parents to start thinking about car seats before they have the baby, because most people know 6-7 months, that they're pregnant. And if you're going to get your child bottles or a crib or bassinet or whatever, you also need to get them a car seat. So we do try to encourage people because, at the last minute, it's a little bit harder to get assistance.
Mhm.
We do have a program through the state of Illinois where we have some money for very emergency type car seats. We have eligibility requirements they need to meet, and we always try to get the parent to try to go out and get one if they can, because we're not a free car seat distribution center.
Mhm.
We're a resource center. We're an education. So what we like to do is help the parent with the car seat that they have.
Mhm.
But there is some grant funding available. But like you said in the beginning, I cover 23 counties. So, I can't get everybody who needs a car seat in every county because there's just not that much money out there.
Yeah.
But they can contact me or Jeff at the Safe Kids office and we can see what we can do to try to help.
Well, that's so fascinating. I remember the birth of my daughter. We had, I don't know how many baby showers, and we were gifted a car seat, and the car seat happened to be pre-owned, which I didn't have a problem with. It looked great. It looked clean. And here we are ready to leave the hospital thinking we're good and ready. My husband and I, we were in our early 20s. So we're like, yeah, we got all of our boxes checked. We did everything we needed to do. And the nurse was like, the expiration date on this car seat, we can't let this baby leave the hospital. Thankfully, we had another car seat. We just had to okay, let's go home and get the other one. But
Right.
not all families are blessed to be in that situation. But yeah, wow, that's good to know. And brought me back to another question when you guys were talking about not knowing the history of the car seat, or if it has been in a wreck or a damage. Are there other programs where you can exchange your car seat? Is there a reduced place where you can go for that assistance? I don't know why I heard maybe the fire department may be able to help.
No, well, and I'll let Skip talk about that too. But what you can do is if you have a car seat that you don't want to use for some reason, it's expired or recalled, Target has that like turn in thing I think it's twice a year, where you can go and drop your car seat off and then you get a coupon to use at Target on other baby products. So what we do, and I'm sure Skip does the same thing, is if someone comes into our event and their seat is not safe for the child to use, and that we ask them if they can go get another seat because this one is not safe to use. And if we have a seat available or funding, we can replace that seat if we have it available at the time. And I would think, I'm sure Skip does the same thing. So, but again, we don't like to advertise that we have free car seats because that's not what our program is.
No.
But we try to help as much as we can.
Right. Also, if the car seat's been in an accident, if they check with their insurance company, if they can find a way to purchase a seat, their insurance company may reimburse them for that seat.
Mhm.
They just have to check with their insurance company. Because normally that's what I recommend to people that call and say, hey, I've had an accident, my car seat was in an accident, what do I do?
Mhm.
And I just say, well, check with your insurance agent. They might require you to purchase one first and then reimburse you. So there is always that option, but then I believe there's also check the manufacturer. If the child was in the seat or not at the time of the accident, that might make a difference where they may not require it to be or recommend it to be exchanged or replaced. So again, there's a lot of information that's out there that they need to check into before they immediately think they need to get a new seat. They need to do a little due diligence and check with their insurance agent as well.
Awesome. And I think like that's the information that's so valuable to our community. As a young person, I wouldn't have even thought to call my insurance agent about my car seat. I would have been like, oh, it's totaled, I got to get a new one. But yeah, the calling and checking with the manufacturer to begin with and explaining the situation where I may not even need to get a car seat. So that's awesome. Being reimbursed by my insurance company, that's perfect. Again, it's those tips that I think will help empower more people in our community. But then, for those emergency situations, it is nice to know that there are programs out there that you guys even are willing to have that conversation and point them into some of those directions before ending up with like, okay, here's a free car seat, because car seats, they are expensive.
Alicia,
Yes.
I did want to mention too that if someone is being discharged from the hospital, some of the Medicaid plans, just about all of them offer free car seats. Aetna Better Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Meridian, and Molina. So they can call those insurance plans, and they have offerings for car seat as well.
This episode is giving me chills.
Well, and I think the biggest thing, we try, especially, you guys working at the health department, is get them thinking about that in their prenatal visits. Like, don't wait till the last minute and try to find a car seat, because as a mom, it's very overwhelming. Like, here you are giving me this kid and I'm leaving the hospital and I have a bazillion things that I have to worry about. And, now I have to worry about a car seat and getting it installed. So we've been trying to get people thinking about that a little bit sooner.
Awesome. Another question that popped into our Zoom chat: for those that use public transportation and do not have a car, what's the best way to travel with children from the birth through the booster seat ages?
So are you talking about like buses?
Yes.
Okay, because buses are a whole different beast than and the other like cabs and stuff. What I would say is I would put the baby in an infant carrier and carry the infant. I just think it's easier for the mom, or if she has some sort of harness, papoose, I can't think of what's called, harnessy snuggly thing. Because on buses,
Bjorn.
they don't. Baby Bjorn, yes, that's dating us, I think, Skip. But yeah, on buses, there are no seatbelts. So car seats are not required on buses. So I would think it, however, it's easier for the mom or the dad, the parent to carry the child, that's what they need to do. But like cabs are a little different. They're not required to have car seats in cabs either. Lyft and Uber are a little different. I think that I don't know what their policies are. I think they're encouraging people to put kids in car seats in the Lyft and the Uber, those type of programs. I would say if there's a seat belt and you have a car seat, use it, if at all possible.
So then for, I guess, your younger children that may be out of that infant stage, so like your 2, 3, are they just safe on parents' lap? Do they ride the bus?
I don't know. I
guess the safest.
If you're looking at the children that are too big to put into a carrier, and you're looking at, say, a convertible seat and a forward-facing seat, that's going to be a little more difficult to carry, because not only are you having to carry the child, maybe, but you're also going to have to carry the seat and whatever packages and other things that you have.
I think I'm going to interrupt you, sir. I'm going to say as long as the child's properly positioned on the on the bus seat. So not standing up, I would have him. It doesn't matter whether if the parent feels more comfortable with them sitting on their lap or next to them, but I would just say properly positioned in the bus.
More towards cabs and Ubers and Lyfts.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but yeah, for a bus, it's difficult to carry those types of things, and again, you're not going to be able to secure it in any way. With the carrier, you can at least put it on the floor as long as the child's secure in the carrier. You put it on the floor, so that way, if the bus is ever in an accident, that's probably the safest place instead of having it sit up on the seat where there's a chance it gets pushed, gets thrown off the seat, and then there could be an injury. Not likely, as long as the child's secured into the seat correctly or in the carrier correctly. I don't mean to tell war stories, but I did have a call years ago where mom had the carrier in the front seat of her car, and the car door was not secure. She made a turn, and the carrier and the baby flew out of the car. And luckily, she had him secured enough that there was no injuries, but we still took the child to the hospital, have him checked out, just as a precaution. So they do work.
No, thank you for sharing that, because I think that really does bring it home, the importance of making sure the seat matches the child's size and safety for reasons like that. Man. We're gonna get back to questions. I literally have chills about our topic today. It's so important, it's so needed.
Made it through and we didn't know all this stuff. Like, it kind of freaks me out. Like, I did so many things wrong before I became a technician. So
Very much so. And then even thinking about us growing up, like how did we survive? No car
Right.
seats, sitting on the armrest in the back seat, the old seats where it's like the bench in the front where you're literally next to the driver. You're just like, hey.
I know.
It's definitely a miracle.
We do have, there are several technicians in Winnebago County. Jeff's at Swede, Safe Kids. We have one at all 3 hospitals. We have technicians. We have technicians at Rockford Fire and Rockford Police. What I would do is I would call and make an appointment. Just call their non-emergency number and ask for a car seat technician. They're not all working all at the same time. We have Skip at the fire department has a monthly event. His event coming up is going to be April 15th at the new Dick's Sporting Goods in Rockford from 10 to 1. And that's just, you stop by whenever you want. And then Jeff has here at the EMS building, Jeff has a weekly on Tuesdays. You can call and make an appointment and have your car seat checked for safety concerns and recalls and all that. Call and make an appointment for that. So we do have, we're very excited to have Rockford Fire because, as you said, I've been doing this for many years, and Skip is the first Rockford Fire technician that we've ever had. Many people go to the fire department because they're friendly and they're always there and they're helpful. But as I said, for almost 18 years, there has not been a Rockford firefighter who has been a technician. So we're very excited to have Skip and the other technicians and Rockford Fire involved in this, because it's a great community event. And then, like I said, everyone, wants to go to the fire department. So.
Mhm. I mean, the fire department is kind of cool. I still
Right.
kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
throw one or have like a birthday party at a fire department, because that just seems like fun, like one of the best things.
If you don't mind, I just
Yeah.
want to stress what Melanie was saying. The guys at the stations, they love to help, but we don't have trained technicians at all our fire stations. And there's this rumor going around, and it has been for years. And there's people at the hospitals that perpetuate this rumor, saying that just go to the fire station and they'll help you put the car seat in. And unfortunately, that's not the case. I wish we had that many technicians, but we don't. We have 3 on the fire department, myself and 2 other guys. We all work out of headquarters Monday through Friday. We will take appointments, and a lot of times people call up. If we're available, we can make an appointment same day. A lot of times, sometimes we can't, but we try and fit you in. But we are working to kind of streamline that process. We're working to get a QR code just on business cards that our fire stations will have, that people can just scan with their cell phones, and that will automatically generate a request for assistance that will go out to one of our 3 technicians, and then we can call you back and schedule that. And it doesn't have to be just to help with car seats. If you have questions about car seats or whatever, we get those too. So, we're trying to streamline that process to make us more accessible.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Skip. We do have another question that came in through the chat in regards to children who have medical issues. For example, like those who have had heart surgery at the different ages with the harness against the chest. Can you explain like what to do in those situations, your advice?
Yes, there's a special needs resource center in Peoria, Illinois, who are fabulous. So I would, and I'm sure all of us here would refer to them, and they can help you. They have special needs car seats that they have a loaner program. So they might be able to loan a seat to the child until they heal, get better, or something changes. Or they are very good at helping you get the resources to get a car seat if you need it for long term. So it's at the OSF Children's Hospital in Peoria, and it's the Special Needs Resource Center. And they help with a variety of children who have medical needs. I don't want to just say special needs, but any sort of medical needs. They can help you with car seats or help you figure out how to get one.
Okay, awesome. I guess for us, if we can put that somewhere on our social media or in the chat just to share that. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that resource, that's just kind of like a call away to get that advice. That's really important for our community to have. I just had a random question as we were talking about medical safety. Oh, that was my question. So back in the day, I remember when I was tiny, my mom would like put me in like those real big fluffy coats in the wintertime because we get real harsh cold winters. When the weather is not warm and we're hitting like that fall winter weather, what's appropriate to dress baby safely for car seats, and how do you keep them warm and safe at the same time?
So we don't encourage people to put the big fluffy snowsuits on, because what you're doing is you're adding material between the child and the harness straps. So that has to compress until those harness straps keep the child in the seat. So we suggest just to wear like a thin kind of fleece snowsuit, because they're not playing in the snow, right? They're not out making snow angels or anything. So you want to keep them warm. But what we like to say is strap and then wrap. So strap them in the car seat in something thin and then put blankets over them, or even those they did not have these when my daughter was younger, but those little flaps that go over around the car seat, because then you're not interfering with the harness straps at all. And then you can keep the baby nice and warm. So that's what we recommend.
Another question jumped into the chat is how can people become certified? Car seat certified.
That just excites me, just so you know that. There is a website. It's the Safe Kids website. It's cert.safekids.org. I can probably type that in there if I'm technologically advanced here. And then the class is 3.5 days long. It's 3 days and then a half a day for the car seat check. So, and you can always get hold of me. I can let you know when my classes are in the area. And so anyways, yes, there is, when you go to this website, it will show you all over the state of Illinois, not just in Rockford or the Rockford area. So you'll be able to search whatever's closest for you, you can attend. So
Awesome. And you said it's only 3 days long, roughly?
it's like 3.5. It's 3 days. And then the last day is the seat check event with the community. So people
that's
think that's long, but it's a lot of information that we jam in 3.5 days. So
I mean, time-wise, I don't think it's long because you are getting that quality information to share with the community and make sure that children are safe. Like, we're saving lives. This would be awesome to get a lot of community members for like their local churches or, you know, their own local organizations to be car seat certified so they can protect their families and their communities. One way we can do something small, commit 3.5 days, and be part of the solution. That's awesome. Before we wrap up, oh, go ahead.
The certification, just make sure that if you guys do want to do that, that you have to install 5 seats. And you have to get like 6 continuing education units in the 2-year period to make sure you keep yourself recertified. Okay, so it's like a $55 fee every time you recertify. But yes, so if you're not going to use it a whole lot, you're going to need to come to either one of our events that we publicize, maybe even Skips, and we can get your seat signed off because you do have to do so many in a 2-year.
yeah, he's just talking about the certification
Yep.
cycle is 2
Yep.
years long. And there are certain things you have to do to become
Yep.
recertified
So you just can't become a tech and it's going to stay there. You actually have to put
every
it to
2
use.
years. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
No, that's important. Thank you for sharing that with us. Any other questions? I got notice that we don't have anything on Facebook. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Before we wrap up, can you guys just walk us through one more time, just briefly, when do you transition to each car seat? And when do you know that they no longer need a booster?
So you really want to go by weight, how big the child is. That's the biggest thing, and height. Some of the seats now are putting age limits on it. Like you can't even use this forward-facing seat till you're 2. So it really depends more on weight and then some on their age. So rear facing till at least age 2, forward facing until they outgrow the harness, which the harnesses go up to 65 pounds. So it doesn't really matter how old the kid is. You say 65 pounds. And then you can be in a booster seat until they're at least age 8. The biggest thing is don't rush to make that next step, because every step that you take, you lose a little bit of protection. So, and then they can be like in a booster seat to at least age 8. And then it depends on how big they are, if they can get into that adult seat belt. And in the back seat till age 13.
Oh,
It's not a law, but it's a recommendation.
I always thought it was 12.
Well, 12 and under. So
Yeah.
under 13. Did I say that wrong? Sorry. Under
No, I
till
think
they're
you said it right.
12 and under.
Yeah, I always thought it was like 12 and over. You can sit in the front seat. Because I would
Yeah.
sneak away when I was younger to be like, let's see what's going on. No, that is awesome. Thank you again to just each of you for not only just joining us today, but committing so much of your lives to saving lives in general, right? But to take on this important niche of car seat safety and saving babies' lives. I'm literally just speechless. You guys have such an important role, and I am so thankful that we have you guys here in our community, and that you are serving 23 different counties in total. But no, just I am in awe in everything that you bring to our community and everything that you guys have shared today. So thank you. To everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us in this space live. And if you're watching after the fact, I'm going to need you to share this video. Like, it's a requirement. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. What we talk about here in this space is highly important. Your babies are precious cargo and they deserve the best. So there was a lot of resources and different things that were mentioned here. We'll make sure that it is on our socials. Definitely save it, rewatch it. This video will be on Facebook for you to rewatch again, just in case you missed anything. But please share, please tell people that these resources are out here. If you need car seats and you are pregnant, please call your health insurance. Had no idea you can get free car seats. So if that is you and you are in need, make that phone call. If you were in the accident, make sure you reach out to your insurance company, because I learned something new today. Call the manufacturer. Ask them, even if you need a new car seat. I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with being a new parent, trying to do this thing called parenting and save babies from themselves. It can be a lot, but please know that the Winnebago County Health Department is here if you have any questions. Safe Kids program is here if you have any questions. Your fire department, not everybody is car seat safety certified. Fun fact. However, they will have information and able to get you connected to the person that you need to talk to as well. So again, just thank you everybody in this space. Thank you to our guest firm professionals that joined us. We really appreciate it. So next month, April, guys, we have been doing this for a year. So we're working on doing a wrap up review and bringing in some pretty cool medical professionals as we talk about maternal health. That will be, again, the fourth Thursday of the month at 12:30 live on Facebook. So if you can't make it, the video will be there for you to watch post haste. Is that the right word? I don't know if it's the right word, but I'm going to use it today. I think that actually means hurry. Disregard it. Nonetheless, so April 27th, we're doing a year in review, medical professionals. We're talking about maternal health, especially in our community, what different places have been doing this past year, different things to think about going into this next year. Also, April is Minority Health Month, as well as Black Maternal Health Week, April 11th through the 17th. And I would be remiss if I also did not mention that it is Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. So please keep your eyes on all of the socials, as I'm sure we'll be sharing plenty of information in regards to all of the topics. The Winnebago County Health Department, they are here as your information center. So if you have any questions, again, reach out to them. They can help you reach out to Safe Kids in the event that you did not remember to call Safe Kids, and or your couple of fire department individuals, mainly the Skip, because he's awesome and amazing. Thank you, Skip. But yeah, so I thank everybody as we wrap up. I wish everybody have a good day, good rest of the month, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Take care.